I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to tell you about my favorite books that are available for free on Project Gutenberg. In case you didn't know, Project Gutenberg is a online project, I guess, where ebooks of classics that are in the public domain are available for free. And please do subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. So if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, then you know that I love me a good list. So I have a list which is quite lengthy. This is 65 books that are available on Project Gutenberg. However, there are actually many, many more that I could tell you about, but I'm restricting myself to one per author. So just know that if I mention an author on this list, you can pretty much find all the rest of the books by that author on Project Gutenberg. For instance, I only mentioned my very favorite book by Charles Dickens, but there are 197 entries for Charles Dickens on Project Gutenberg. I'm not even sure if he wrote 197 books or short stories, but that's how many the entries there are. And of course, there's if I'm going to mention my favorite Jane Austen, but there are all of Jane Austen's works available. So just know that if I mention an author, you can pretty much find any of their books on Project Gutenberg. These are not listed in any particular order, they're just in the order that I happened to think of them, and then I went on Project Gutenberg to, confirm that the book is there, and then I put it on my list. The Scarlet Pimpernel books by Baroness Amuska Orczy, Anne of Green Gables series, and Emily of New Moon by Lucy Maud Montgomery, The Importance of Being Earnest and Other Plays by Oscar Wilde, pretty much everything by the Bronte sisters, including Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights and Tenant of Wildfell Hall, all of my favorite Elizabeth Gaskell novels like North and South and Wives and Daughters, Children of the New Forest and Mr. Midshipman Easy by Captain Frederick Marryat, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, along with Eight Cousins and Jack and Jill and Under the Lilacs and Behind the Mask, just tons and tons of her works. Cecilia by Fanny Burney, Emma and Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, along with Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe, The Secret Garden and A Little Princess and a Lost Prince by Frances Hodgson Burnett, Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore, all of the fairy books by Andrew Lang. These are collections of fairy tales that were collected and edited by Andrew Lang. Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope, all the Wizard of Oz books by L. Frank Baum, and the Aunt Jane's Nieces series, also by L. Frank Baum, but written under the pseudonym Edith Van Dyne. The Sherlock Holmes books by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Dr. Thorne, which is my favorite book by Anthony Trollope, along with 87 other entries for Trollope. The complete Shakespeare, as you can imagine, but my favorite is Much Ado About Nothing, Endymion by John Keats, Tarzan of the Apes and A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs, Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, The Woman in White and the Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and The Wrong Box and Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, Around the World in 80 Days and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, Ben-Hur by Lew Wallace, Ivanhoe and Waverley by Sir Walter Scott, Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster, The Man Who Was Thursday and the Father Brown Stories by G.K. Chesterton, Fantasties at the Back of North Wind, The Princess and the Goblin and the Light Princess, all by George MacDonald, The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, King Solomon's Mine by H.R. Haggard, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood by Howard Pyle, The Complete Poems of Emily Dickinson, Hans Brinker or the Silver Skates by Mary Mapes Dodge, The 39 Steps by John Buchan, The Vicar of Wakefield by Oliver Goldsmith, Middlemarch and Mill on the Floss and Daniel Deronda by George Eliot, Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, Paradise Lost and my favorite poem, Comus, by John Milton, my favorite poet. Raffles the Amateur Cracksman and Stingery by E.W. Hornung. The Cloister and the Hearth by Charles Reade. The Count of Monte Cristo and the Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. 2 Years Before the Mast by Richard Henry Dana. Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens by J.M. Barrie. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Green Mansions by W.H. Hudson. Tom Brown's School Days by Thomas Hughes. The Jungle Book and Kim and Captains Courageous by Rudyard Kipling. Vanity Fair by William Thackeray. Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. The Idylls of the King by Tennyson. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. A Girl of the Limberlost by Jean Stratton Porter. Thelma by Marie Corelli. Swiss Family Robinson by Johann David Weiss. The Coral Island by R.M. Ballantyne. Sailing Alone Around the World by Joshua Slocum. And Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Okay, those are just some of my favorite books, my favorite classics that are available for free from Project Gutenberg. There are many, many more, but these are my, my favorites from that author. Of course, there are many more favorites that I would have from each author, but it would just be a very long video if I tried to say them all. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, what is your favorite classic? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.